Sup everyone, it's Absol, and I've been loving new Pokemon Snap. I know a lot of people scoff at this game, saying that it's just a $60 game about taking pictures, but to me that actually sounds kind of awesome, and I love it. I recorded and streamed almost my entire first playthrough of this game, but I decided against making a movie of my first playthrough. Because I think this is the kind of game where experiencing it vicariously through someone else isn't nearly as satisfying as experiencing it for yourself. Pointing the camera where you want to point it, playing the melody when you want to play it, and then playing it again, and then playing it again, and then throwing the fluff fruit where you want to throw it. Being a menace, destroying every Pokemon in your path your way, from your perspective. I wouldn't figure out what my first video about this game would be until I decided to spend some time with my life in ruins. Literally, the stage ruins, not like metaphorically or anything. Because in this ruins stage, on the morning of Sunday, May 2nd, I found a Pokemon here that I knew was video worthy. And here are a few hints at what it might be. In case you haven't guessed it by now, that Pokemon is Absol. Congratulations to everyone who has managed to figure that out from the hints that I gave beforehand. Now here's my first reaction to seeing it. Someone just told me yesterday Absol wasn't in the game. Look what I just found! I'm so happy, dude. Let's go. So I grinded out taking pictures of Absol for at least 16 hours of gameplay time, which is more than the 12 hours I spent playing through the game to the credits. I certainly kind of went insane in the process, and I have proof. Oh, he's doing the stretch! He's doing the stretch! He's doing the stretch! Run, 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 run! It's gonna stretch! No! No! No, no! But this video is the result of that. The main goal of this video today is to hopefully have it be the ultimate guide to Absol in this game, showing you every possible Absol interaction. Oh, yeah, what? Yeah, what? How those interactions are classified in the Photodex, and how to take the highest scoring Absol photos possible. So let's get into it. Let's go through all of Absol's locations in these levels. So Absol appears in two spots in this game. Levels 2 and 3 of Ruins, and the Oris Island Illumina spot. Starting with Ruins Level 2. The first appearance of Absol is towards the beginning of the stage. If you feed this Houndoom a fluff fruit, Absol will come out and look down at you from the top of the cliff. It actually took me so long to figure out that feeding Houndoom was the trigger and not throwing fluff fruit to the top of the cliff. Oh, Absol! Come on out. Come on out. Absol standing up here is a 1-star photo. It'll stay on top of the cliff staring at you until you reach the cave and then retreat by itself, unless you do a couple different things. The first thing you can do is toss a fluff fruit at it, which is a 2-star photo if you time it with the bonk. It will then retreat after that. The other and best option is to play the melody with it in frame. It will then jump down and make a dash for the cave below. If you take a picture of it while it's stretching or mid-leap, that will be a 3-star photo. As it dashes towards the pit, which is a 1-star photo, it cannot be interacted with at this point. Normally it takes off for the main area of the ruins, but if we use Turbo to position ourselves to already be there as it leaps in, it'll stop in place and be fully interactive. Here we can use Radar for a 2-star photo, feed it for a 3-star photo, or just observe it moving around for 1-star photos. You can also take a cool looking picture of Absol's shadow as it descends into the cave, but it doesn't count for anything because Professor Mirror is a total loser. The second Absol appears deeper into the ruins, watching over you from this tree root. It's an easy 1-star photo, and while you're on this side of the route, if you hit it with a fluff fruit, it'll jump down and run up these stairs. This does seemingly nothing at first, and it basically just sets you up for kind of worse 1-star photos from a scoring perspective, but it kind of looks nice just chilling at the top of the stairs from an aesthetic perspective. But there is a purpose. Deeper into the ruins, it will allow a Chandelure to go up to you and spook you for a 4-star photo. If you don't hit this Absol with the fluff fruit here, it will jump down on the other side of the route where it's totally oblivious to anything you do and prevent the Chandelure from moving forward. And speaking of Chandelure, the third Absol appears at the end of the level, jumping down from this cliff and running up to the Chandelure, spooking it for a 4-star photo. You can also distract this Absol beforehand with fluff fruit if you want the Chandelure to spook you instead at the end. Just like the one we lured into the pit earlier, this Absol is fully interactive and can be fed. When you unlock Ruins level 3, there are a few more things Absol's capable of. The Absol on the cliff functions almost the same, but when it jumps down, it'll take a leisurely stroll instead of immediately running until you interact with it, and it will actually react to the things you do this time. You can take a picture of it eating here to fulfill a research mission. There are also some interesting quirks to its behavior here. If you allow it to walk and don't interact with it after bringing it down from the cliff and then turbo to get ahead into the cave, it will jump down, run straight into the wall, disappear from existence, and then jump down again. No, what? I also found out that if you hit it with the fluff fruit just enough times as it's about to jump, you can glitch it out on the edge of the pit and make it freeze in place. Oh no, I broke him! I broke him! He's broken! He's defective! The second Absol deeper in the ruins functions about the same, but I see almost no benefit to hitting it with the fluff fruit this time in level 3, since Chandelure doesn't really follow you in the first place in this level. If you leave it alone, this Absol will take a path around the purple fountain and arrive at the claw marks, where it kinda just hangs out and chills with the Salandit here. Here it becomes fully interactive. The third Absol is where things are most different. In order to make this one appear at all, you have to first hit the Noivern at the beginning of the pit with an Illumina orb, and then throw fluff fruit into the cave it was in front of until Umbreon appears. Then, deeper into the level, throw 1 to 3 Illumina orbs at the sleeping Umbreon by the orange fountain until it wakes up, and then Absol will soon follow for a 4-star photo of them just being buds. I still can't fully figure out why the Umbreon sometimes takes more than 1 Illumina orb to fully wake up, but just keep tossing them until it does. It's also briefly 1-star when Umbreon runs around it for some reason. Once playtime is over, it will then run for the hills, disappear, and no longer be interactive. Now that about covers the ruins, so now let's talk about the Illumina spot. Skip to the timestamp on screen now if you don't want to be spoiled of what the final Illumina Pokemon in the game is. You have been warned. So in the third room here with the mural, if you wake up the 2 sleeping Houndoom and bring them together, an Absol will appear. There's really nothing out of the ordinary about this Absol here until you get the Houndoom to howl and Xerneas to use Geomancy. Then, if you point your camera at Absol, instead of the admittedly much more photogenic Rainbow Deer here, you can get a 4-star photo of it observing the Geomancy. This is useful for the course score, but the distance you have from the Absol here will really not net you too many points for the Photodex. Which brings us directly into the next section of this guide. Getting the highest scoring Absol photos. So the Photodex in this game is set up so that every Pokemon has 4 entries. 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star. We just went through how all of Absol's interactions are classified under these, and it has multiple possible poses for each one. But what we're focused on here is the total Photodex score for it, or the sum of the scores of every individual photo. I've managed to hit a total of 20,000 for Absol, which was my ultimate end goal here. That's it, man. That's it. Oh my gosh, dude, what a grind. But I am certain that my current pictures can be improved upon with more time and precision to fully max out the scoring categories. Even though I haven't achieved true Absol perfection with these photos, by following this guide with enough elbow grease, you can. So let's talk about the scoring system. This is advice that could be actually helpful for any Pokemon in this game and not just Absol. Let's start with pose. This category is probably one of the most arbitrary and takes the most experimentation to get right. Pose is all about what exactly the Pokemon is doing when you take its picture, and not every interaction is capable of scoring full marks. For example, Absol just standing there will only get you 500 points, while getting Absol mid-stretch can get you up to 1000. I recommend turning on burst mode so you can get just the right moment. Size is the next category. Ideally, you want to get as much of the Pokemon in the frame as possible, and you want it to really fill up the frame. In Absol's case, the perfect size is getting all of its body in the frame and having it take up the entire height of the frame. Size goes to 2000, so it's the highest scoring category and can make or break a photo. Now let's talk direction. This is all about the angle that the Pokemon is facing. The game constantly tells you that the Pokemon should be directly facing you, but for Absol and many other Pokemon, you can also score perfect points in this category by having a perfectly sideways profile shot of the Pokemon. This is incredibly helpful for the 4-star photo, which we'll get into soon. And next is placement, which is the easiest one to score perfect in my opinion. Because Professor Mirror is a loser, he only likes Pokemon centered in the middle of the frame and not off to the sides. So all you have to do to score perfect in this category is perfectly line up your reticle with the little box that appears on any Pokemon you're trying to take a picture of. You can also score bonus points for having other Pokemon in the background. You tend to score more bonus points in this category if the other Pokemon are clearly in frame and facing you. And finally, you can net some more bonus points by having a cool background, like having a Crystabloom behind the Pokemon. Unfortunately, there aren't many opportunities to do this with Absol. So now that we've talked about the fundamentals, let's talk about each of the perfect shots for every category. So, for the perfect 1-star photo of Absol, you need to get a picture of Absol naturally just stretching, as this was the only 1-star animation I was able to get a 1000 in pose for. I found the most consistent way to do this is to use Turbo to get ahead of Absol before it jumps into the pit at the start of the level. Then, as it meanders around the pit, it will eventually start stretching. I've gotten great opportunities both head-on and totally sideways down here. It'll just take some experimentation. Ideally, you might also want to try and get the Houndoom in the background too for some bonus points. You might even want to try this in Ruins Level 2, where the Houndoom is awake instead of sleeping, so you have a better shot at getting it in the background of your photo. The ideal position in the middle of this stretch is when Absol kind of tilts its head to the side. That is the sweet spot. So now here's the full sequence and scoring of when I got my best 1-star photo. I'm still not totally sure if the way the Absol moves down here is random or is based off of the precise positioning and movement of where you were whenever you summoned it down from the cliff earlier in the level. But it stretches consistently enough to the point where I don't think it should take too many tries to get it to stretch down here from a good position. You can also see it stretching at the claw marks where it meets up with Salandit, and at the end of level 2 where it meets up with Chandelure, but I think this pit here is where you get the best angles of it. Let's go, dude! Let's go! Ah, that's a good one. That's a big improvement now. Now, before we get into the 2 and 3-star photos, I need to show you the locations of these Natu at the start of the level, because having them around definitely helps out in the other Pokemon category for scoring for both of these photos. So I say bring in a couple of these little dudes by throwing Fluff Fruit at these exact locations, and then bring down the Absol. So now let's talk 2-star. 2-star is actually probably the easiest one to get consistently. The golden 2-star pose that we need here is when Absol lifts up its paw when struck with a Fluff Fruit. And timing this is actually very easy because we can tell when we're at the right moment based on the circle from the impact of the Fluff Fruit. You get the highest scoring points in pose when the 2 circles converge here. Get a couple background Pokemon in and you'll be golden. New record. Let's go! Increased size, increased other Pokemon score. Having that little Natu in front of me helps. The perfect 3-star picture is obtained in about the same way as the 2-star, but is a little trickier to time. You need to take a picture of Absol doing a little happy dance after eating a Fluff Fruit, so you have to time and place your Fluff Fruit in a way that Absol will still be fully in frame when it's done eating. I unfortunately wasn't recording when I got my highest scoring photo here, but I found that getting the best score here relied mostly on getting a good mix of background Pokemon. New 3-star record, nice! You'll want to snap it when its back is fully arched and its head is fully raised. And finally we have the 4-star photo. For this one we go to the end of level 3, and we wake up the Umbreon as soon as possible, and then position ourselves using Turbo so that the Absol, when it appears, is perfectly sideways in the frame. And then we time the photo for one of the first nods that it does to Umbreon whenever they start playing, for a perfect pose score. If you center it just right, you'll also get Umbreon in the photo and get massive other Pokemon points and potentially get a score over 5,000 on this photo. 5187, we upped it by 50. That's progress. But I managed to do even better when I wasn't recording. But yeah, that's the guide to Absol in this game. I don't know what the purpose of this video is, like who the target audience is, who's actually like looking up a guide to just specifically only Absol in this game. but I felt like it was my duty to bring this video into existence right now, and you're watching it right now, so I appreciate that. I dropped my Absol plush, so I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna end this video off with a weird sound glitch that I found while recording for this guy, and I don't have an explanation for it yet, but it's pretty interesting. Let's get into that, and I'll see you next time.